Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining Axient's x360 Cloud demo today. I'm Cheryl Knuckles, and I'm on Axient's marketing team. We look forward to having you all here with us today. We are going to give everyone just a couple more minutes to take their virtual seats and join us before we get things started. It does look like we have a few more people joining, so thanks again for joining us for this live demo. I wanted to go over just a few quick housekeeping items before we get things started. We really like to keep these sessions interactive. This demo is always a lot more interesting for everyone when you have questions and engage with us. So please feel free to utilize the Q&A feature to ask us any questions that you may have throughout the demo. And then we are going to be giving out a $100 Amazon gift card to one lucky winner. So make sure to stay tuned until the end to be qualified for that. So again, thank you everyone for joining Axient's x360 Cloud demo today. We're really excited to have you all here with us. At this time, I'm going to pass things over to Axient sales engineer, Dugan Crotty.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And with that, I will be walking you through x360 Cloud. I'll kind of set the stage with just a few slides, kind of explaining our technology and what we're doing in the market space and how we're addressing the issue of backups. And then we'll dive into the UI together for a few moments. And anytime as I'm going through this, if a question does arise or you have a comment, please definitely utilize the Q&A section of this Zoom meeting. You can also put some information into the chat window, but if you put it in the Q&A, I'll see it a little bit quicker and try to address those as those come in. If not, I always leave a few minutes at the tail end to go through those questions. But again, if those questions do arise, please use the Q&A section of Zoom. But on screen right now is kind of just a overview of Axient as a whole and our platform called x360. So we have three base solutions called x360 Cloud, x360 Sync, and x360 Recover. Obviously, today we're going through x360 Cloud, but the other two solutions, x360 Sync, is going to be that tool that will facilitate your need for a secure file sync and share. It also allows for a file folder level backup. And then next to that is x360 Recover, kind of our flagship solution for backup and disaster recovery, because this is your full image backup. It also provides you the ability to fully fail up into our cloud utilizing technology called Virtual Office. So if you have the need for endpoint and server full image backups, x360 Recover is the solution for you. But the focus on today's webinar is x360 Cloud. And with that, what is x360 Cloud? Well, this is our answer to the backup need for Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace. So a lot of your clients are probably moving their on-site Exchange or have already done so to the cloud. And maybe some of your other clients are utilizing Google's infrastructure and Google Workspace. So they're putting more and more data out there and relying on those domains and the containers within those domains. So the need arises of that backup of that data. Because if you're not aware, both guarantee the uptime of their services, but not the health of your data within those services. But once we do have those backups, we're able to not only perform recoveries off those backups, but also do granular restores and have the ability to dive in and utilize a tool called Smart Search that allows you to do a full text search on each backup or each item that has been backed up. In addition to that, when you select those items to be recovered at that granular level, or maybe you're doing a macro level restore, you have that flexibility of the level of restore that you need to do. And all of that interaction within x360 Cloud is fully audited. So you're able to pull detailed reports and pull an audit log. So you have that layer of security on top of us taking backups and you doing restores. So the need of the x360 Cloud, I kind of hinted on this a moment ago, but if you look at the service agreement from Microsoft and even the service agreement from Google, you will see this within their language there that they recommend and say you should have a third party backing up your data within their domains. Because again, they only guarantee the uptime of their services, not the health of the data within those domains. And that's exactly what X360 Cloud does, because it's a cloud-to-cloud backup. The UI, which I'll dive into in a live environment here in a moment, we'll start with this reseller dashboard. So everyone on the line, you being the MSP, this gives you kind of that dashboard where all of your deployments of X360 Cloud are reporting into, and you're able to manage from that one single dashboard. I'll show this in more detail here in a few moments. Now, what are we protecting from those domains? Here's a quick snippet of what we're protecting, or those containers within those domains, from both Microsoft and Google. Usually about now, I get a question on Microsoft's side of Teams. How we're addressing the backup of Teams is each time that you generate or create a team within that domain, it's going to create a SharePoint backend. That's where the majority of the data of that team resides, and we're backing up that SharePoint site. That comes with one caveat, that we do not natively back up the conversations within Teams, but outside of that, we do back up everything else within that domain. Next is that searchability. I touched on this briefly, but given a couple of different tools within the UI, one being our browser, the other being our smart search tool, you're able to quickly locate individual items or collection of items that need to be restored. I'll showcase this within the UI, but it's fully searchable, and not only searchable for the header of the item, but the full body text of that item, whether it's an email attachment, a body of an email, a contact, and so forth. With Smart Search, when we take a backup of an item, we're fully indexing that item. So when you utilize Smart Search, we can quickly search those items. And if you see that top line item there, we're able to search over 100 million objects within 5 seconds to display those results. So very quickly searching the full text of those items. When it comes to restoring, we have a couple different ways that we approach that restore. We have a cross-user restore, so you don't need to go back to the original location or the original user within that domain. You're able to go back to any other user or restore back to maybe a shared mailbox. So it gives you, again, that flexibility of that restore with cross-user. In addition to that, when we're restoring to a recovery folder that you create at the time of the restore. We actually take care of that creation of that folder, and the items that you're restoring are going into that folder rather than overwriting existing data or creating duplicate entries in the live database. That will just create confusion for your end user. So the non-disruptive restore there is that layer of restore. And then lastly, you can get very granular with your restores, so micro level restores all the way up to macro level restores, where you're restoring a full inbox, restoring maybe a full SharePoint site or a full OneDrive. You can have that macro level restore as well. All of this is being fully audited and fully reported on, so you're able to pull those reports and even pull backdated reports and have that layer of security with that audit log, but you're also able to take those reports and get them to your end user. You can even automate that with our summary email that can be sent not only to you, but also to your end user if they need verification on how their backups are doing. All of this combined is X360 Cloud, addressing one of our core mottos here at Axient, which is curing data loss and keeping your business running, or keeping your end clients' businesses running. And that's how we're addressing that backup need for Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace with X360 Cloud, which again is that cloud-to-cloud backup. But with that, let me get out of this slide deck and let's dive into the UI for a moment. First up on screen is the partner portal. This is going to be your multi-factor login to get to all things Axient. With this, this gives you the ability to dive into the UI of Cloud, Recover, and Sync. but it also gives you the ability to quickly get to all things that you may need from your partnership with Axient, whether that be, hey, who's on your team here at Axient within your contact list. Maybe you need to open up a support case or see the current status of a support case. That's all done within support. You can even go in and do self-based training within our training catalog here. This is self-based. You're able to work through these at your own timetable. But in addition to the self-based training, if I jump back to my partner portal, we have our help center, which is going to be that full library of resources of how-to guides, release notes, and so forth, especially for cloud right here. If you want to come back later today, just go to help.axient.com, click on onboarding videos, and we also have some quick videos on X360 Cloud. So this will walk you through everything that I'm about to go through here, but if you want to see it again, it's going to be here. But building off of that even further than just those recorded videos and that help center is schedule live training. So at any point of your partnership with Axient, you're able to come in here, schedule one-on-one training with our training staff. And this is free of charge. You can even do same-day training. Again, this is one-on-one training, great for your initial knowledge transfer, but also, hey, something new happened, let's do a Q&A on that. Or maybe you have a new colleague join your team, they need some onboarding. This is great for that. So again, that is schedule live training. But with that, let's quickly jump into the UI of X360 Cloud by clicking on launch here. I already did so, and it's open here. When you click on launch, it loads the X360 Cloud dashboard. Again, this is your reseller dashboard. So all of the deployments that you have management over are reporting into this dashboard. Nice little summary of what you have in your backup repository, what's going on in terms of what you're protecting. If there were any domains or organizations that were in a troubled state or in an error state, excuse me, there would be a list out here that you'd be able to click on and get to that and start troubleshooting. But right now, all the domains in my demo environments are functioning normally. I can generate and download a summary report of what has occurred the past day, past 7 days, past 30 days. Nice little summary report there. I can even generate a client-specific report right here for download backup report for a specific client. With that, let's look at those organizations that I'm protecting. When I click on organizations, this gives off a list of those domains or clients that or organizations that I'm working with. It gives a little bit of information. To get a domain listed here, deployment usually only takes about 10 to 15 minutes to get deployed. What you do is you click on add organization. This wizard will walk you through adding that org. You input, hey, this is my end client information here, and you would click on submit. When you do so, it will bring you to this authorization page where you will click authorize and you would log into Microsoft or Google. You need to log in as a global admin. That's because you need to give X360 Cloud permission to not only take our backups, but also do our restores. Once that link is done, it will then take you into the settings page of a organization. So let me get there. And this is that settings page here. So within here, you select those containers that you want to protect from that domain. Once we have the initial backup done of all that data within that domain, you can also toggle these settings on right here, which is what to do with a new mailbox, new user, new SharePoint site. When those are created, do you want us to automatically start protecting those? You can toggle these settings on right here, and we'll start protecting those automatically. So you don't need to micromanage the deployment of X360 Cloud. In addition to selecting at that higher level of those containers, what you're able to do is go into the user list of the domain and really pick and choose what users are going to be under protection So it's not a solution where you have to protect all from a domain or none. This gives you that flexibility and that ease of, hey, I need these mailboxes selected for protection and these ones not. And it's as easy as coming into that user list and that protection status column right here, you toggle protection on and off with these toggles. That will give you the protected user head count. Now, a quick point on our licensing. When you toggle on protection for a user that is fully licensed on the Microsoft side, there will be a green check mark here. If both are green, that graduates that user from not only a protected user head count, but a billable head count. So we mimic the Microsoft and Google licensing structure there. And then when you have a billable head count, that's going to be the number of licenses that you need or that you will be billed for that protection from that given domain. We can still protect users that are not fully licensed or maybe shared mailboxes or unlicensed mailboxes that have data underneath them that you want to protect. We can do so. You just toggle on protection there. Once you have all that selection of protection, we will go out and take that initial backup. And then after that, we will then make a call out 3 times a day to Microsoft and to Google to take those backups. With our SLA to you, once the initial backup is done, we give you that SLA of 1 full backup per day, but we are making that call out 3 times a day to grab that backup. Now, if I jump to the dashboard of this client, I can see the last successful backup right here. And that was actually yesterday's backup. I can see what's in my backup repository for this client and number of items there as well. I get a breakdown of the billing and what's being protected. But most importantly, down below, I have recent activity in terms of backups and restores. I'll come back to this in a few moments. In addition to this dashboard, if I want to see what has occurred on a given day, I can go into my report history here, jump back to a day. So maybe I want to jump back to the 2nd of October. Click on that date. I can see that I had successful backup on that day. Down below, I can see what users, SharePoint sites, archive mailboxes that were protected. If I expand out, I get more detailed information on what was collected in that backup for that day. So we have those reports right here. In addition to those reports, I can go into notifications of this this particular organization or client, and I can set up a summary digest email to be sent out daily, weekly, or monthly. So if your end client needs to see verification of those backups, this is a great way to do so. Or if you want to receive those, you can set those up right here as well. Let me jump back to the dashboard for a moment. I saw a question come in. Let me read through that. How long should we allow for onboarding to change to either partial or success? So when you're making that initial connection to that domain, and we're in the process of onboarding that domain or taking that initial backup, depending on the amount of data that's in that domain, that can take a day, a few days, a week, depending on how large of a data set is there and that we need to copy over for that initial. So it really depends on that data set within that domain. But those larger domains, especially those domains that have larger SharePoint sites or users that have just every email they've ever received in their inbox, that's going to take some time. On average, it's about 2 to 3 seconds to back up an individual item. So if you have an item count, that will give you kind of a rough ballpark amount of time that would take to back up that full domain. But once the initial backup is done, again, we guarantee at least 1 full backup per day after that. And we're making that call out 3 times a day. Great question, Tyler. Getting back into the UI here, let's talk about once we do have those backups done, what can we do with those backups? What types of restores can we do? If I jump back to the user list here, I want to start with kind of a use case at the macro level. So very high level where I'm restoring a full mailbox. I'll get into granular recoveries in a moment, but at that macro level, let's have some fun with the sitcom The Office, because right here we're protecting like Dunder Mifflin Paper Co. here. Let's go with the scenario that Michael Scott is leaving the office, starting Michael Scott Paper Company. Therefore, we need to take those emails and restore them to another user within the office so that they can dive in and continue maintaining those accounts and see where business is. So this scenario is a great cross-user restoration. What I need to do on the user list, I click on the user, Michael Scott. I get a pop-out on the right-hand side that gives me a breakdown of what items I have that are linked to that user within that backup repository. I can change it to number of items, and I get that head count here. If I click on Restore User, this will take a moment, but it will bring up my Restore Wizard and walk me through restoring at that macro level. So I'm restoring all item types of a certain item type. So in here, in the wizard here, I select a date that I want to restore from. So let's just go ahead with yesterday. I want to restore those mail items. In here, I'm going to select where I want to restore. I can restore back to Michael Scott or type in a different user within that domain. When I start typing here, it will search that user list and it displays that user here. So I'm restoring to Jim. And then that restore, or all those restored items, are going to go into a restore folder that I'm creating right here. So let me just put MS for Michael Scott, test, restore. And all those items would go into that folder that's generated when we do that restore. And that will be at the root of Jim's inbox when I restore that. Now, most cases, you're not going to do a macro level restore. Most cases, you're going to need to do a granular level restore. We have a few ways to do that. First is within our browsers. Let me clean this up for a moment. Within our browser, if I go into the browser, this will give us what we call a point-in-time view of the user's OneBox and also inbox or mailbox, so that we're able to see what was there on a given date and then restore and get granular with those restores. So let's go again with Michael Scott. Let's say that he hit the delete button too many times on his inbox and he accidentally deleted his folder that contained all of those emails from Holly Flax. In here, if I open up the mailbox, I can see, hey, there's that folder. I can select items just within that folder, or I can select that full folder right here and then restore right here. And that will bring up that restore wizard, and it's restoring the items I've selected right here. Now, if I wanted to, I could also jump to a given date and see that folder structure as it was. Let's just go all the way back to maybe January 1st of 2022. I'm going to update, confirm that. It's going to change that folder structure, and we weren't protecting that user on that date. So that folder structure will be flat like this. But what I can do is I'll jump to another date. So let's jump back to maybe St. Patrick's Day earlier this year. It's Michael Scott loves St. Patrick's Day. Let's go ahead and update that. I can see that folder structure on that date, expand that out, and see what was there at that given time. So again, a point-in-time view of not only the mailbox, but also the user's OneDrive. So we can see that right here as well. With that, maybe you have a user come to you and say, hey, I know I had an email that referenced this project number or this invoice or was coming from this given sender. That's all little tiny details that you can search for. And that's where we would use our smart search. So if I expand out our smart search, we're able to apply filters. So let's go ahead and search for emails containing the word test, maybe from just Jim Halpert or within Jim Halpert's backups. I can go ahead and click on search. I quickly get my search results here. I'm able to click on an item. I can see that header information, see the plain text of that email, I can restore that individual email. Or maybe I got very detailed with my filters. I can select all and restore all of those. But let me go ahead and select a few of these and go ahead and restore these very quickly here. So let's go ahead and restore these to Jim. And I just want to showcase what happens when we restore a few items or when we initiate a restore. Give us a moment to pull up Jim's users here. Excuse me. But with our restores, what you're also able to do, taking a moment to load that user list, but what you're able to do when you initialize a restore, when you go back to your dashboard, within your dashboard, we have that recent activity for not only backups, but also restores. So when a restore does occur, we have that listed off there. Not sure why this is taking a moment to load, but with that, you're able to keep an eye on the progress of that restore and also where that restore is going to. Let me refresh this. Give that a moment to refresh. But I just noticed we are coming up on time here. So with that, any questions that you may have, go ahead and start typing those out. Put those in the Q&A. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. I'll get that reshared back out here right now. And go through those questions that come in. So last few moments on questions, go ahead and put those in the Q&A box. But within here, let's go ahead and go back to that dashboard. Within the dashboard, we can see recent restores. I'm able to click on that restore and see where that restore occurred, the status of that restore, and so forth. All of this, again, is being fully audited within the audit list of user activity and system activity. So you can pull those audit logs if need be. But then most importantly, to everyone on the line, if I go back to the reseller level, so your MSP level here, and go into settings, I'm able to set up notifications so you can be quickly notified if there is an error taking a backup or doing a restore. But we can also send that information into ConnectWise if you're utilizing ConnectWise for your PSA tool. So we can automatically open up that support ticket for you within that PSA tool. But with that, that is X360 Cloud at a very high level and very quickly. But if you do have any questions, please put those into the question and answer section of Zoom. But at this point, we're kind of open to Q&A and any follow-up items. I'll take a look at chat too and see if anything came in there. Nothing there. But again, to everyone on the line, thank you so much for attending our webinar on X360 Cloud. Hopefully we piqued your interest there. So we do have a question on pricing. We can get you some information on that from your sales rep. But with that, we'll definitely follow up with you on licensing.
All right, thank you, Dugan. I think we got to all of the questions in the chat, so I do want to thank you all for being interactive and joining us today. I will send out a recording of the demo shortly, so you'll have that as well. If we missed anything, I did just pop my email into the chat so I can get any further questions routed to the appropriate person or team. And then if you'd like to learn more about X360 Cloud in a demo setting, the next X360 Cloud demo will be held on November 9th at 12 p.m. Central Time again. So watch out for emails soon to register for that. And last but not least, the winner of the Amazon gift card is Harold Lambertson. So congratulations, Harold. We'll be sending that out shortly. And again, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Dugan.
Thank you very much.